The galaxy of Starfield is vast, with an ever-increasing colonisation of planets within the settled system. But with the spread of adventurers, colonies, and tasty loot, the ever-looming threat of pirates began to emerge. Fleets would be hassled, stolen from, and destroyed, posing a threat to the Freestar Galactic and the United Colonies. The pirates would often collectively associate as the Crimson Fleet, instigated by former United Colonies prisoner Jasper Cricks. Many were impacted by the Crimson Fleet's terror, with the United Colonies bent on eliminating them. But because of constant diplomatic tension and fractures, the Crimson Fleet remains resilient, along with many independent spaces. However, not everyone has a stricter code as the United Colonies. A vigilante so fabled they have become a legend, the Mantis scours the galaxy, giving spaces and criminals a reality check, making sure their crimes do not go unanswered, which many pirates, especially spaces, learnt to fear. Stories of the Mantis spread until the Mantis became an urban legend, with many not even believing the existence of the Mantis. But the Mantis has been within reach this whole time. Found on Space of Bodies is a text log, Secret Outpost. Loyal to your crew? I get it. But screw that. Beg, borrow, steal, kill to get to Denebola 1B. There is a secret outpost we're trying to crack. Once in a lifetime opportunity. You will regret it for the rest of your life if you don't get over here. This secret outpost is actually the lair of the Mantis, the nest of the Space's nightmare. And inside this lair is detailed the tragic and peculiar story of the Mantis. The Mantis' lair can be found on the moon Denebola 1B, in the Denebola system. In Babylonian astrology, Denebola is part of one of the earliest recognised constellations, Leo. Curator of the British Museum and astrologer, Vivian Robson detailed Leo in the fixed stars and constellations in astrology. It is said that the stars in the neck, back and wing all bring trouble, disgrace and sickness affecting the part of the body ruled by the sign, especially if they happen to be in conjunction with the moon. Denebola itself is located at the tail of the lion, coming from Arabic, al-Danab al-Assad, meaning the tail of the lion. Fixed stars and their interpretation details that in horoscopes, the tail of the lion is associated with unconventional ideas, with major catastrophes being triggered by it. And this kind of thinking could be embodied by the spaces, those who are frightened by what the Mantis can do. But a much more fitting analogy of Denebola, along with the Mantis, is one poised by Ethelbert Bullinger in The Witness of the Stars. He states that Denebola is the judge cometh who seizes. And I think this aligns with the vigilante of the Mantis, being a self-imposed judge.
The spacers and pirates need someone to fear, someone to check them, to make them realize some lines cannot be crossed.
We are introduced to the Mantis' lair when it's being ransacked by spacers. This lair is a gold mine. The Mantis was loaded, the salvage top-notch, and the good stuff's gotta be further in. As we delve deeper into the trap-laden lair, we begin to uncover the story of mother and son. Dorianne Verclain, the Mantis, had prepared a will for her son, Leon, bestowing onto him an inheritance. But there's a catch. He had to visit her lair.
I'm here, and I'm hot, and I'm tired. So thanks, Mom. Best gift ever. The stupid code worked, and the door scanned my biometric. Surprise, it's me. Then I heard Mom. I nearly had a heart attack. She said her lair, yeah, lair, what a freak, is meant for the worthy. So all I have to do is take some tests. I just want to get this over with.
So Leon, like the spaces we meet upon arrival, has seemingly evaded and fought against the puzzles and traps within the lair. However, further down the Mantis, we tragically find a corpse of Leon Verclain.
Turrets! Mom, why the hell? This whole thing is a sick joke. Gotta get out. Oh god.
Like many of the spaces, Leon has failed the test of the Mantis lair. But there's one man nearby that has not yet failed.
Wait, don't shoot! I am unarmed! Look, we can help each other. I can be useful. Just don't kill me. This place was full of traps. Traps everywhere. I removed them. But this corridor is just too dangerous. See? Looks normal. One step inside, slam! You are trapped. And nobody's been standing after the doors reopen.
Well, Livy is only telling half-truths here. Being a spacer, the only way to solve the trap, which you can glean from the gold mine slate, is through Livy volunteering spacers to sacrifice to the traps, brute forcing himself to the depths of the lair. But the most complex of puzzles stumped him, with a word needing to be written out on a grid of letters in the floor in order to be able to reach the door without being killed by more turrets. For word to make it safely through this puzzle is Tyrannus.
And she ends not with an I love you or an I'm proud of you. No. Sic semper tyrannis. My god. Always with that stupid Latin saying. Over and over she'd say that damn thing.
Sic semper tyrannis translates to thus always to tyrants, meaning that tyrants, rulers who are cruel or lead through oppression, will meet a dire end. Dorian, being the Mantis, the judge, deemed the pirates and spacers as tyrants, and is tasked to deliver their justified conclusion. So it's ironic that Dorian's son has indirectly been felled by the Mantis, in a cruel mockery of this motto. Dorian's delusion seems to have no bounds. She remarks that she had trained Leon while he was younger, believing that would be enough for him to pass her test.
You remember when you were a teenager? All the training, the drills, all of it was to prepare you for this. I know you have it in you, Leon.
The Mantis is revealed to not just be Dorian, but a mantle, passed down from member to member, with Dorian adamant that Leon would pick up her reins.
The lair is a secret that's been passed down for over 100 years, and there are rules.
Perhaps one of these rules is a test or ritual that's needed to be done to pass on the Mantis, and to receive its fortune.
She never talked about where she got her fortune.
Dorian's and Leon's family name, for claim, is that of French origin, varying from Vulcanism and possibly Eklund, meaning son of the wealthy one. This is an apt name for Leon, the literal son of a wealthy one, and in turn, she herself was the spiritual child of the Mantis, where all her riches originated from. Once we finish solving the puzzles and traps of the Mantis' lair, we open up into an expanse below, revealing the ship of the Mantis, the Razor Leaf, as well as more information into what the Mantis really is. In Dorian's personal computer, a message titled "You've Earned It" details the previous Mantis. What the Mantis is today, it wasn't always the case. When reading the logs about the first Mantis, don't judge her too harshly. It was a volatile time, and before she passed the mantle, she recognised that the Mantis could be more than an opportunity just to make money. It could be a symbol. It seems like there have been at least 3 Mantis before. The former Mantis, the one before Dorian, rides with the first Mantis, the one who most likely made all of the fortune for the Mantis. The Razor Leaf has a shielded cargo bay, which doesn't entirely make sense for a tracker, a vigilante, to have, as guns are not considered contraband. But perhaps it was utilised by the more shady original Mantis. The Razor Leaf could have borrowed its name by the closely named Razor Crest, the ship of the bounty hunter, the Mandalorian. Going back to the message "You've earned it," there seems to be a similar pattern that the Mantis hold. This former Mantis handed down their role to Dorian in a fashion that seemed to be quite abrupt, assuming that Dorian would think that they were crazy. But unlike Dorian, this second Mantis passed on their mantle through retirement and could very well be alive. Could this retired Mantis be hiding in plain sight somewhere within Starfield? Well, it might be too early to say. Federal Minimum 5492 proposed that the Mantis is indeed out there, and someone who we can find in our travels. A lone traveller in the settled systems, we could board the ship with someone known as Grandmother to have a lovely chat and meal. She tells us the story of how her husband has passed away, and against the advice of her grandchildren, she sets about exploring the stars, alone. Space is incredibly dangerous, and it certainly seems like Grandmother is ill-prepared for the menaces that could await around the corner.
I got good shields, and I always have enough helium-3 to jump somewhere safe. I'm careful.
Yet this very careful grandmother invited us onto her ship, and could have easily done so with pirates. Grandma flies the Narcissus, a ship manufactured by Stroud-Eklund. And this is indeed a relatively weak ship. But would a retired Mantis, one who explores the system by themselves, be worried about any pirates or spacers? Maybe the grandma used to be a Mantis, and is now innocently living her life as a peaceful explorer. But this may not be the case. Grandma did state that.
I finally retired last year, and I've been traveling all over. I wish I could have done this when I was younger, but it's still a treat.
And this wouldn't really add up if she was the Mantis. While the previous Mantis did retire, it seemed like Dorian was the Mantis for much longer than a year. But perhaps through her travelling, the relativity of time has become disjointed. Whether Grandma was the previous retired Mantis or not, this Mantis chose Dorian as their successor. Out of all people that they could have chosen, they knew that Dorian would fill the role of the Mantis the best. But Dorian, perhaps through her own stubbornness or narcissism, completely believes that her son is entirely capable of rising up and becoming the Mantis, most likely to conceive her own failed parenting.
My darling boy, I haven't been the best mother in these final days. I wish. Be a better Mantis. Be a better person than I was.
The name of Leon is of Greek origin, from Leo, meaning lion. Lion symbolise strength, pride, being of royal lineage, all the things that Dorian perceived her son to have. Even the lair of the Mantis is within the Leo constellation. Dorian was given a year to live by doctors, so she set about preparing the Mantis for Leon. In an archive security log, we can see Diva claim granting herself access to certain rooms, and then unassigning herself from the role of the Mantis. And sometime later, we can see the security detecting explosions, most likely by the spacers trying to unlock the riches within. This triggered the defense contingency, Scorched Earth, which would wipe all of the information on the Mantis computers, protecting their secrets. But Dorian's computer had 3 documents left unopened, which caused the mainframe to fail its hard wipe, being stuck at 97%. This could imply that there must have been around 100 documents about the Mantis, detailing all of the Mantis before Dorian, and perhaps there were more than 3 Mantis. We heard Dorian mention that the lair itself was passed down for over 100 years, so the Mantis must have been around quite a while before that. There's a loading screen hint that states that for over a century, there have been accounts of a vigilante bounty hunter named the Mantis, who terrorises the criminal underworld. There's so much room for a rich history here, it has left me wanting more than just 3 small documents. But maybe that knowledge is still somewhere in the settled system. Unlike Leo, we haven't found the body of Dorian, with her pod only containing patches of blood. In her office, her showers and her basin. And in her living quarters, there seems to be a streak flowing from a turned over jug? Is this really blood? Why would it be in a jug? Could this have been staged by Dorian, faking her own death? Something doesn't seem to entirely add up. Maybe this grandmother is the disguised Dorian, one who faked their own death and deepened their illusions of a repaired family life. She does have similar skin and hair to Leon, and the timelines of grandmother retiring do add up. Although their voices do sound different, we can still gather some more tidbits about the Mantis. Dorian states in her first kill message that she defeated the scum of Aquila City, Rhetora, while spacers remark about some of Mantis' other hits a generation before.
My pops told me the Mantis took out the Beast and Jay Gatto.
A ruthless executioner, the Mantis is seemingly named after the insect Mantis. The female Mantis are notorious in attacking and cannibalising their mates, and it doesn't seem to be a coincidence that both Dorian and the first Mantis were female. Maybe like the insects, the Mantis themselves also don't care for their children, with Dorian admitting that Leon was raised more by babysitters than herself. And maybe all of the Mantis before were female, and Leon just didn't fit. The name Mantis can actually be traced all the way back to ancient Greece literature, with Mantis meaning prophet or seer, but I can't really see many connections to Starfield from this definition. A lot of the parallels from the Mantis' story can be compared to crime fighters over in the comic book world, the Phantom. Instead of space, the origin of the Phantom starts in the sea, with a young boy by the name of Christopher Walker having his father's ship attacked by pirates, with his father being killed. He seeks revenge, wanting the destruction of piracy, greed, cruelty, and injustice. Making his home in a skull cave, the Phantom would pass their mantle from father to son, going on for centuries, with many believing that the Phantom was immortal. And like the Mantis, the Phantom's identity would remain hidden, wearing both a costume and not revealing their true form. We can take up the mantle of the Mantis and continue to terrorise the pirates in space, bringing justice to the system and continuing the legacy. Let's hope that this is not all of the story written for the Mantis, and more will be revealed as the narrative of Starfield is unravelled.